Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club, the place investors go to learn tips, tricks, and stories from other investors in the field. Before I introduce today's guest, I have 3 short housekeeping items to cover. First, if you like our content, the best way to support us is simply to like, subscribe, comment, or share this episode with your friends and family. Second, we are active investors ourselves and are always on the lookout for mobile home, RV, mixed-use commercial, and multifamily properties in MSAs with a population of 100,000 or more. So if you are also an active investor and have something you think we may be interested in, we would love to take a look. Send us the details of the deal at www.therealestateinvestingclub.com. Third, if you are a new investor and would like to learn how to get started or scale your real estate investing business, go to www.therealestateinvestingclub.com to check out our course. So without further ado, let's dive right in. We have a very special guest with us today, so buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are live. Today we have Eileen Depew, attorney and broker's associate with Keller Williams in Austin. Eileen, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Great to be here. Doing well.
That's good to hear. So why don't you get us started? Tell everybody, who you are, where you're from, and how you got started in real estate in the first place.
Okay. I am from Long Island, New York. That's where I grew up. From a construction building family. My grandfather was project manager on the World Trade Center in New York.
Wow.
Way back in the day. And my dad and uncle were builders, both custom home builders and municipal utilities and schools on Long Island. And I remember laying out job sites with tape and string when I was a little kid. I tagged along with my dad to job sites. So I've always loved getting out, real estate, construction, and I went to law school after college. I came to Texas at 16. I went to Rice University on a tennis scholarship, stayed in Houston for law school, and practiced law. I was a maritime lawyer in Houston to start, and loved that, dove right in and very, very involved. I married a lawyer, so we had pretty big careers in Houston, loved it, started investing in real estate. And the joke with our friends was how long we were going to be in a house, because we get bored quickly with our environment. We're Rolling Stones gather no moss, so we were moving like every 2 years. And once I had 4 kids, I wanted to slow down on the practice and law stuff, and started having more of a community-based law practice just in our small hometown. We moved north of Houston, a little town called Montgomery, where I wanted to raise my kids. And we had a ranch, and I just wanted to open a little law office in town, and took whatever walked in the door. And a lot of people walked in the door with real estate problems. So I started helping people out with real estate problems, estate planning, and started doing some more real estate investing, land, a lot of land, and then little flip houses. And really enjoyed it. I admit I started becoming a little addicted to HGTV.
Oh, yeah.
And, I did quickly realize that you can't, it's not as easy as it looks on TV, the home makeovers. I have absolutely no skills.
Make it look too easy.
Yeah. It's great for sales. Don't get me wrong. But I quickly realized I do not have the decorator gene.
Yep.
I have other great skills, but decorating's not my thing. So after a couple of flip projects with colossal, they were good results, but disappointing to me because I was not the designer decorator I thought I could be.
You're operating out of your wheelhouse, kind of felt
yes, out of the wheelhouse.
Yep.
So I got more realistic, and I said, you know what, let me help other people buy and sell real estate. I think I can provide very good value. So we moved to Austin about 7 years ago, and I jumped into selling real estate and helping other people with their deals. And it's been really rewarding. My first assistant was my, at the time, daughter at UT, University of Texas. And she subsequently went to Baylor Law, and she is now a real estate attorney in San Antonio. So
running the family.
Yes. And my son is joining me in the business when he graduates from University of Arkansas next year. And yeah, it's been really fun. It's a great family business.
I love it. I mean, it sounds like you have quite the background. You're kind of you got started. You came from a real estate family. You had custom home builders. Your parents were custom home builders on Long Island. You said your grandpa was even the project manager for the World Trade Center. That is
yes.
That is a job right there.
Yeah. 1940 something. I've lost track. I was little. I wasn't even born at the time.
I'm sure.
But
that was a ways ago.
Yeah. And my grandparents were immigrants.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was the first person in my entire family to go to college, and yeah, they're really hardworking people, great people.
That is it's a true American story. It sounds like. And so you went to law school, and then you went into maritime law. That's very unique. I mean, that had to have been fun itself.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So I grew up on Long Island, and my dad was really big into boating and hunting and fishing. So I was raised outdoors, and I knew a lot about boats because I was the deckhand. I mean, and we fished in big bill fishing tournaments every weekend in the summer. Every opportunity I was on a boat, not really because I wanted to, but that's what my parents did. They're big fishermen. So, and they, I was the older kid. I had a little sister, and I was the deckhand. I was running the boat when they were on the reels, and I was throwing lines. And anyway, so
you grew up on the boat, and so that's kind of how you picked your law career. You went into maritime law. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was one of the first women maritime lawyers to be hired by this firm, which was one of the oldest firms in Houston. Yeah. So it was neat. It was groundbreaking, and it was fun. I mean, I used to go out to the ships in the middle of the night, the Houston Ship Channel, with a 38. I would pack because in the middle of the night, it's scary. Yep. And I am not wearing a dress. I am wearing tennis shoes and blue jeans and my beeper, and interviewing ship captains and crew members because ships will collide in the night. And my job was to go out and investigate what happened and understand the law and, figure out who's right and wrong and contact all the necessary parties and litigate it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you had a very colorful career even before getting to real estate. After that maritime thing, you went in and you moved to Houston, it sounds like, or a suburb outside of Houston. You started doing flips, but you realized, flips aren't, it's not HGTV. As much as you wish it was HGTV, there's a lot more that goes on into it. So you decided that's not your bread and butter. You moved on, and now you're in Austin, selling real estate, being a both a broker and an attorney for real estate investors, for anybody who has any issue with real estate. Does that kind of sum it up pretty well?
Yes.
I love it. So great. I mean, I'm glad you're on the show. We really, I was excited to have you on here because I love hearing people. I love having lawyers on the show because real estate really is a transaction-based business. There's a lot that goes into it, obviously, but the paperwork I almost want to say it's a third of what you're doing when you're actually finishing a deal. Paperwork is very important. The legality of real estate is very important. So I want to kind of push us in that direction. I love hearing about your story so far. And so kind of tell us, when it comes to the legal side of real estate, what is it that you think people need to be a little bit more prepared? What are the main mistakes that you see people making when they, as investors, buy investment properties, buy flips, and they kind of structure their deal poorly? Or what are the main mistakes you see happening in that area?
Are we talking commercial or residential?
Ooh, that's tough. Let's start residential and then we can veer into commercial.
Okay. They don't know what they don't know. And if they don't have a very experienced agent with perhaps a legal background, they're not spotting issues that are seriously there. One of the big areas I see overlooked, or consumers do not pay attention to, are title commitments. I review title commitments for my clients the same day they come in. I can do that. I understand the jargon, and I can spot things that are of concern and bring them to the attention of the buyers. As a salesperson, that is a downer, okay? Because it could blow a deal up.
Yeah.
And I'm commission-based. But it is all about, in my opinion, these buyers have got to have a good brain looking at those title commitments, surveys, all because that's the blood and guts of the deal.
Absolutely.
And you need a doctor who understands blood and guts to understand how to spot and identify issues that are going to protect you as a buyer investor.
Yep. And I would never recommend anybody do their own, pull their own title. Definitely hire a lawyer or go with a title company for that. But yeah, I mean,
title companies can't give legal advice to parties, but they, my thought is, no matter how large or small the transaction, the commitments, surveys, and the legal documents, the contract should be reviewed by an attorney. And I know the TREC forms all say right above your signature, you should consult with an attorney before you sign this. Nobody does it.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
If they do, it's a family member who doesn't practice real estate law, and they may spot an issue or two, but oftentimes it's not relevant. And they may still miss some of the big things that are important.
So if an investor were to engage with an attorney that was not real estate specific, what are the questions that they should be asking this attorney to make sure that they're looking at the right things in the title commitment? They're checking the right boxes. What are the things that they should be engaging to make sure that they're actually getting the right representation? Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
So the thing about law is you get a general law education when you go to law school, and then lawyers become specialized.
Yep.
Just like doctors, you wouldn't go to a heart surgeon if you've got a brain tumor. Okay. And you got to get a brain tumor removed. Your heart surgeon is not your guy. Maybe a great guy. He may be available to answer your questions, but you don't want to put a scalpel in his hand. It's the same thing with lawyers. If your brother-in-law is a bankruptcy lawyer, he may know a little bit about real estate because he remembers taking the class and taking the bar exam, had some real estate on it. But in terms of problem solving, really digging into the issues, or more particularly, how to resolve the issue. That's the most important thing. How to build the bridge to get over that hurdle that is found in the chain of title or the survey or what have you. And that's where real estate specific lawyers come in. They understand not only how to identify problems, but what to do about it. And is it fixable? And how you fix it? And how long it takes to fix? And how much it's going to cost to fix it? Most things are fixable, but you just got to be in the right hands to be able to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we actually, my partners and I, we ran into an issue recently. We were closing on a mobile home park out in South Carolina, and it turns out we still don't know how it happened, but for some reason there was, back in the day when this mobile home park was first built, somebody else was on title. And the current owner had no idea about it. But this person had legitimate claim to title because she was on the title. And so we hired a lawyer, and they went and they found this person. She just some random girl out in South Carolina. And, we had to get her to sign it off and sign off her claim to it because she didn't even know she was on title either. So, that is just an example of why you need somebody who's really versed in the title process in order to make it, in order to safeguard your transaction. So I love it. So title is obviously a huge thing when you're closing transactions. There's a whole bunch of other legal aspects that come into play. How about partnerships? So when people go in to buy real estate together, individuals go to buy together, entities go to buy together. How do you go about coaching them on structuring those deals?
Document, and have a great partnership agreement. My husband, who I've mentioned earlier, is an attorney. He's done a lot of partnership agreements and knows how to really do them very well, because it's not just about the agreement. As he says, all good things come to an end. It's about the exit plan and what happens when the partnership no longer wants to be a partnership. That's where all the disputes arise generally in partnership agreements, that they weren't well drafted to start, and then the exit plan, either they didn't address the exit plan, who gets what and when in the partnership agreement, or it's very vague, and if it is there. So good agreements, documents, and well thought out. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. So I want to shift gears just a little bit here. We try to keep these episodes to around 20 minutes. And so, we're blasting through it. So I want to hear a little bit about the experiences, the stories that you've had. You've had a ton of experience in real estate. You started in maritime law. Who does that? That's awesome. And now you're a broker in Austin, and you're also an attorney. So I'm sure you have great stories that we can listen to. So take us to one of the times that was kind of a struggle that kind of caught you off guard. What was that story, and what was the lesson that you pulled out of that after it was all said and done?
Well, I'll be really honest here. You said caught you off guard, right? So
caught, or it's just a struggle, or kind of a lower point. Yep.
Yeah, great question. So what comes to mind first and foremost, one of my early on real estate deals. I got into real estate because I got tired of fighting with people. As a lawyer, there's a winner and there's a loser oftentimes. And it's arduous, and it's anyway, I wanted to work with people, right? And win-win situations. And Keller Williams is all about win-win or no deal, right? Yeah. So one of my first real estate transactions was with a divorcing couple. And the prior agent quit them. Like, she could not handle the ugliness of the ex-husband trying to sell this home. And he was a doctor, and she was a doctor, and I had to get in the middle of that. And that, the reason I got the listing was because this other agent was quitting. She just couldn't handle it anymore. And my broker at the time said, Eileen, we think you can handle this, which was either because they thought, I could match the intensity of the parties or what. But I think what surprised me and set me back most of all was sort of a level of disrespect as a quote unquote realtor, until they found out that I had much higher education. And then they pivoted.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then they got in line. And I said, here's how it's going to be, guys.
She's a lawyer. She's got a law degree. It's time to step in line.
And it wasn't like I was telling them what to do. I was just able to provide clarity for them that the prior agent was unable to do for whatever reason. I think, it's easy for some people, especially if they're angry, to intimidate you, because they're going through transitions themselves.
Yep. And
it's a very stressful period of time, selling a home, and also your family is splitting up. Just not pleasant.
I think I may have lost your call. I'm going to hold on here for just a little bit longer, and hopefully you are going to pop back into view. I will see if you can hear me, Eileen. You might want to hop out of the call and hop right back in. But we cannot. We lost audio from your side, so may want to restart your router. Maybe. Hopefully you can hear this. If not, we'll have to redo this episode, or just call it good where it stands. Looks like Eileen just dropped, so she might be coming back on here in a second. If anybody's watching, or for everybody watching, I'm glad you guys stuck around. Obviously, for the recorded episode, this is going to be cut out. But for everybody watching, I'm glad you're here. One reason I wanted to have Eileen on today is that in my own real estate journey, I've found that contracts and the legal side of things is one of the most difficult parts, especially understanding how the entire process works from start to finish. And so it's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I feel real estate investors need on their journey. So hopefully you got a lot of good gems of wisdom from Eileen today. It sounds like she most likely she has some internet issues, but that's just what happens with technology these days. So thank you guys for joining today. I really appreciate having you on. This is obviously a very unique situation because we lost one of our guests here with the apocalypse of the internet. So thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episodes.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investing Club. If you feel we provided value, we would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends online, whatever it may be. If you'd like to share or partner with us on an investment deal, we are always looking for quality projects. Go to www.therealestateinvestingclub.com to get in contact with one of our partners. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.